Hi everyone, Esther here. Today we're going to look at the chart of Yair Lapid. I have to tell you, I don't know much about Yair. I know his exist. I knew he was somehow part of the Benjamin Netanyahu cabinet in some period of time. I remember in the beginning in Israel. I remember he used to be TV personality, but I don't really know so much about him. So we can look at it together in Wikipedia before we're going to dive inside of his personal chart. Now it says then Yair Lapid, born on November 5th. I did confirm this with a couple of sources, so I do have his time of birth. By the way, I don't believe it's correct. I check in many places. Everyone have 12 a.m. midnight, but it's really tricky. This is, by the way, one of the hardest time with the rising. I will show you why I think this way. So he's an Israeli politician of the centrist. Esh 8 is the party which is he and former journalist he formed. He has been a leader of the opposition since 2023, which is just recently from January, and he had previously served in that role from 2020 to 21. He served of the 14th Prime Minister of Israel from July 1st to December 27, 2022. He previously served as alternative Prime Minister of Israel and Minister of Foreign Affairs from 21 to 22. Lapid is the chairman of Eish Etit and Minister of Finance from 2013 to 2014. Before entering a political role, Lapid was author and TV present and news anchor. And he's a centrist, H8 party, which is we already read about it, and so on. Okay, cool. So this is his current. And let's see, what do we have? Some more information about him. So Yair Lapid was born in Tel Aviv, the son of journalist and politician Yosef Lapid. Makes sense. Okay. I'm just reading with you right now, guys, together, who served as a justice minister and novelist on the playwright Shulamit and Galit Lapid. His father was born in Novi Sad, Yugoslavia, near Serbia, and his ancestor Hungarian Jewish, his grandparents, and his mother was born in Tel Aviv. His maternal grandfather, David Giladi, and originally from Transylvania, Transylvania, from Romania, was a writer and as well journalist who was among the founder of newspaper Marif. Wow. He has a sister, Mirav, who is a clinical psychologist, and another sister, Michal, who died in car accident in 1984. His paternal grandfather, Bela Meir Lampel, and a lawyer and Zionist activist, was murdered in a concentration camp, while his grandmother, Hermonant, was sent to Auschwitz, where she murdered in gas. Okay, so we have some understanding a little bit about him. Then he definitely Israeli, and he born to both parents who was very educated, and he definitely, they made sure he will get good education as well. So I'm gonna share with you his chart. So I'm right away, I'm gonna give you heads up, guys. There's certain things I purposely not gonna say because I want to respect individual. Because when I do chart to for famous people, I don't tell you everything, because I do believe certain things need to be concealed and need to be told directly to the person, because his energy, especially if something directly connect to his purpose, his incarnation, his tikkun. I'm going to tell you things really more on a general level, because this type of chart, I wish he will have astrologer or astrologer with really deep astrological knowledge, and medical astrologer. I will explain to you why, who can help him to understand himself better, so he can save his emotions, his nervous system, and his energy better. But we're going to go through his chart, because he's definitely very interesting chart. the chart I call the chart from the future, from the other world. The chart of bigger thinker, revolutionary, overwhelming energy to be in this environment for sure. So let's go right now quickly together. I'm going to show you in much clearer way first his chart combination. Okay, so his sun is in Libra in almost 19 degrees, and it's in the third house. His Mercury in Libra as well, almost like a conjunction with the sun, as well in the third house. His Venus in Scorpio between 6 and 7 degrees, and it's in fourth house. His moon is in Gemini, it's almost 19 degrees, and it is in 11th house. His Mars in Scorpio, almost 14 degrees in fourth house, and his Jupiter, it's almost 17 degrees in Pisces, it's in the eighth house. Saturn, 22 degrees, almost 23 degrees in Capricorn, in its sixth house. Uranus in Leo, and it's between 15 and 16 degrees in the first house, and he has a Neptune in Libra, and 21 degree in third house, and he has a Pluto in Leo in the first house, okay? And so on. You can look at it after yourself. So let's a little bit dive in. Let's see what's happening here. Right away, we need to look at the first house, right? First house, it's or makif, surround light. It's how people appear outside, what is his ego, right? Because the first house is the house of ego as well. And right away we can look at it. Ancients never just look, not just for the exact rising, where the rising was coming from. Definitely from Leo, and then the rising really finishing almost in the middle, it's in the house of Cancer. So right away we need to understand what's happening in this chart. This is the chart where we have a rising, even though it's sitting in Leo, completely in the Leo, right? This is why direct sky fixed sign is so important, because no matter in what house you have, you need to look at actually what sign it's touching, right? Because there's no such a thing 30 degree for each sign. Each sign has a different length, therefore it has need different amount of degrees. So it's not easy, because we have a clash of energies, right? The short circuit, we have water and fire clash together, moon and sun. But what's interesting, because remember one thing we need to know it deeply, understand each sign. Both signs represent heart. Cancer beside the stomach and internal organs of the guts. It represents the inside of the heart, the smashy part, and Leo represents the shape of the heart. And ego and pride, right, together comes with that because of the superior. So we have here an interesting combination. We need to see the Lord of this chart, it's the sun. So now we need to look where the sun. The sun, it's in the third house, but it's in the house of Libra, a house of total, house. Libra, it's the house of debilitate for the sun. Sun doesn't like to be in Libra. Why? Because sun, it's like a superior. Leo, it's a king. He comes to enter the room and he wants to order. He doesn't have a time for a flea market negotiation. A relationship, you come according to what I represent. And this is why for Sun Plus, look what's happened here with the Sun. Sun has a conjunction with invisible Mercury, and it's in the third house, and Sun represents father. So first of all, father, definitely very talented, accomplished, but the Yair himself really went through really like a clashes and struggle with his own father, almost like from very early age was a lot of misunderstanding. But in the end, he wanted to be like a father. In a sense, he was important for him to get approval from the father. But there was a lot of conflicts and a lot of misunderstanding. And look what else we have here. We have Neptune, which is another conjunction, which can create a lot of illusion. Because in the third house, it's given a lot of talents, by the way. This is the definitely chart of superstar. I can say, like, with my eye closed, let's say I don't know nothing about him, I will look at it. This is the chart of performer, chart of someone who very like a big ego, who actually love to be in love, but don't know after what to do with relationship. And it took him really long time to understand and discover, because, we need to look at his moon, which is in Gemini in 19, and between 19, he has a moon and he has a Rahu in the energetical force of Cyrus, which is second sun, the brightest sun in the solar system after the sun. And Cyrus, it's a huge. So you can see right away his mom, super intelligent. And mom definitely, her career was extremely important. But while he didn't really get nourishment. I wouldn't blame mom for that. Perhaps he himself didn't really let it in on certain period already time, and he didn't let in to his own mom to give him the nourishment. So it's kind of both situations. So let's keep in mind this. We're going to come back to all of this, right? And now let's return to the first house. So beside the ascendant himself to be in the 2 degree and not far from Hydra, a very complicated rising it's almost like you need to have a split personality in order to function this world, and sometimes even can be lost in your own many personalities. Look what we have here. We have Uranus, we have a Pluto, which is very close to each other. I will say the conjunction, and Uranus in not in a positive degree, while the Pluto touching star of Zosma, Zosma is the star of deep knowledge, esoteric knowledge, astrology, stargazers. And we're talking about the Pluto, which is the Pluto will activate all the inside the mystical, behind the scene stuff. And, and it's all about, to go to the highest of the highest to understand things, but understand them not necessarily for the collective, you will think. It's more for my own benefit, how I'm going to be after using this information. Now, you see, we have quite a few squares as well in this chart, and it's make it a little bit more as well for the emotional state of mind. Medical astrology will look at this chart, and I right away can tell you on emotional level what's going on with this person and how it's important for him to all his life to be with certain natural medicine, certain herbs, meditation, know how to breathe. You see, when the first house have such a combination, I'm talking about everything what I see, this person, even physical body look different than other people. He can even walk, or his voice, his face, it's almost like Chas v'shalom le'avdil, like a certain animal walking, or certain like a very hunter, hunting personality, like a warrior. I'm like, I love peace, but I need the war in order to appreciate the peace. This is the chart, you understand? And it's make this, no, you never know what he think. Not because he can hide stuff, but because he think all the time and so much. Then while he start the project, in the end, whatever initial thought, it won't even be in the end of the process. He's like, it's to work with such a person, you need to be very flexible, because this person, this personality, especially if many people under superior of this person, they can experience a lot of unpeaceful energy. Don't forget, we need to understand how the Aquarius influence in this case, right? Because the Aquarius he has in his chart, Aquarius doesn't have too much sentiment how they speak to people. Plus, we have here Leo in Cancer. They both can be whatever connect to the toughness as a boss. This is the type we need to, which is I am superior. I'm telling you, even though I can talk nonstop, and I sometimes even can understand, it's hard to understand this person when he speak, especially in the simple meetings. He actually needed the time to learn how to communicate. And I'm sure when he was at school, or when he was, in the early development, it wasn't easy for him, because he doesn't have a patience to sit and to really study and learn. But he's so talented, he's so gifted. Sometimes it can be abused by not going and really invest balance time and balance energy in order to see the full picture. He's very quick to make conclusion and decisions and assumption. This is another thing you have to be careful, especially when you in a government environment, when so millions of people affected by it. Because look what's happened here. We have a Jupiter square Sun, and then we have a Jupiter square Mercury. Then we have Uranus square Mars, and then we have a Neptune square Jupiter, right? Sorry, and then Uranus square Mars. It's like he has a lot of squares in his chart, but interesting, at the same time, his Rahu triangle with Mercury, it's make him super talented at the same time to create new things, new ideas, like like to call people masses to go and look for your rights, and to the take he reminds me, this chart, I can tell you, this is the chart of the revolutionary in the French Revolution. But what's happened in French Revolution? Yes, they did revolution, and then they sold everything back to the same owners because they didn't have a really plan how to live in peace, join the peace, right? And this is the chart. It's one thing to have someone on your team who very quick thinker, quick decision makers when you're in crisis. But what's happened when you're coming out of crisis? What are you going to do with this person, especially the person who really more care about his own agenda? And I will tell you why I'm saying this. There's many things I could tell him, because to have such a first house and so many things, Uranus and Pluto, it's definitely he brought from past life. Some, the way how he left the world, it was so unpeaceful. Then he still carried this thing with him. And the one main issue I have in this chart, this Jupiter have a hard time to connect to spirituality. I'm talking about the real spirituality, the real or chokhmah, not just want to impress people with conversation, like really go in the depth and to ask yourself why I'm here, why I speak certain way, why I react certain way, why I judge so quickly, and then I have to rethink and to rewrite my play in order to explain myself, and so on, right? He definitely, he has a big heart, because still to have a Leo and everything, but with this big heart, he has such a pride. This pride cannot let him to understand why he here if he's not gonna connect to spirituality. And I'm not talking about the, just to go once in a blue moon to listen to Torah, or just to read some smart book. This type of chart need academic study. I would send him, honestly, if he will be open, I would recommend to him really to have a systematic study, like a daily, like 1 hour, to study Talmud, to study Torah, to understand what is really halacha, what is it from Kabbalistic perspective, to understand how the energy work, because he really has a lot of intense energy. When such a person, can you imagine this electrical station to transform to the power machine, which is can just serve people with so much energy for the goodness, and not someone who has so much energy and can create short circuits only because of the lack of spirituality. You understand? It's really important. He needs spirituality big time, because if you're going to get spirituality more, he can be unstoppable. He really can be leader, but without real spirituality, without understand, then he is in the country, he's in the Holy Land. To be a leader in the Holy Land, it's required much more than just to be leader in Western world. Israel, it's not West. Israel, it's Middle East. And while we're in Middle East, we need to understand that. You understand? So it's a different dynamic. It's require mind over matter. It's require big heart. It's required, yes, daring decision making, but at the same time to understand the essence of the country you're serving. And I do believe because of all this combination, he's an illusion of where real power coming from. And because of this illusion, this pride and this ego and this super talent, he's such a talented guy. He's a handsome guy, talented, and I'm sure he has a lot of good intention, but he himself not truthful with himself, because in the subconscious, many times he starts something and then he regret, but because of his ego, he cannot admit that he made mistake. And this is something really for him to think, to consider. So, in conclusion, oh, you know what? I really want to tell you guys his fourth house, right? Fourth house. Fourth house is the mother ancestral lineage, is the home. Um, it's everything connect to the feminine side of himself as well. And we have a moon, which is he didn't get nourishment from the mother. And again, like I said, I'm not gonna blame completely on mom, even though she probably was really taking care of her own career big time while she was growing. He was really, I have to say, from all the siblings, felt the more stranger in this house. And he probably wanted to move from this house as early as possible. And his Mars in the heart of Scorpio, it's like he's a truly general. He could be amazing general, not prime minister. Absolutely not. This energy is not for to be prime minister. It's need to require somebody with little bit more balance and more center column energy. But he can get there while serving and while to be in the environment where decision needs to be very quick with clear head. But without spirituality, it can be disaster. I'm just telling you right now. So because of his over here as well, it's in the fourth house, Mars as well, in his own home, every time when he buy a house or you move inside of the house, it can be have some flooding, by the way, some plumbing issues in the house where he move, with the water issues. And in general, he himself always need to understand Scorpio, extremely important in his chart. What is really Scorpio? Scorpio is the water of the fire. It's another constantly click of energy. Understanding his chart, he has a lot like contradicting the clash of water and fire. So, and can create a lot of turbulence. And because if he's a seven house in Aquarius, in a house of really independence, he definitely need a partner. Somebody like this definitely married at least a few times. I don't know, by the way. You tell me in your chart if you know if you've been married how many times. But eventually he will come to deal with his partner. This is what requires from you, and this is what I can give it to you. Let's make a deal, and you can deal with my moodiness, you can deal with my ups and downs. And you know me, I love you very much. So if sometimes I say something hurtful, I don't mean, but you should know I still love you. So this is in a nutshell, right? And his mission in life, which is coming from Aries to Taurus, from the 9th house of spirituality and 10th house of, commitment to your mission as well. So I do believe if he's, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, he's going to have people around him who really care for him enough and tell him, what is the time to really to connect to real spirituality, to where you came from, what you represent, and only then from that understanding you can become a real ruler. Okay, guys, so I think it's all what I wanted to say. Of course I can say many many more things, but I really wanted to be reasonable for him, because this is still somebody who serve people and who really wants to, I'm sure in his mind, wants to bring goodness, but without understanding the bigger picture and without spirituality of the Torah, he has absolutely no chance to bring the country where it's need to go. Okay, so I wish you guys many blessings, all the best. Kol tov. Bye bye.